John, I think the floor is yours. I just introduce you on the slide here that you're Senior Vice President of Spire Global. So please go ahead. Thank you.
Fantastic. Yes, I'm Senior Vice President and General Manager at Spire Global, which is a company that has its European headquarters in Luxembourg. And I'm going to spend the next 5 minutes really highlighting the success that we've had by opening up our European headquarters in Luxembourg. I think we'll paint a pretty nice picture of some of the things that you've already heard and some of the rationale for what Luxembourg and the government's been doing, particularly in the space sector. But just for some context and background, Spire Global is a space-to-cloud data and analytics company. We leverage our proprietary satellite technology to create a priceless repository of insights that really aren't available anywhere else. We call it Earth Intelligence. Customers leverage our proprietary satellite technology to forecast the weather, track shipping vessels, monitor aircraft locations, basically anything you can do with information that's based on Earth that you can collect from space. We essentially collect that data, do all sorts of fun stuff with that data, machine learning, artificial intelligence, and then we productize it. The decision to come to Luxembourg really was not a difficult decision. Spire, about 3.5 years ago, we were a startup. We were growing. We were a global company. We were based in San Francisco. That was our US headquarters. We'd opened up a manufacturing facility in Glasgow, Scotland, which was really our UK and our EU headquarters. And then, of course, with Brexit ongoing, we were trying to figure out where do we want to expand to essentially be able to enter the European markets. And there were really 3 things that were driving our move to Luxembourg. First of all, the continued global expansion of Spire really gave us an opportunity to tap into the EU markets as well as the talent into the EU markets. So from that perspective, Luxembourg made a ton of sense. But as you've heard in a number of sessions today, the Luxembourg's government and their investment into new technologies, into digitalization, and particularly the space sector is pretty prominent. And through the Luxembourg Future Fund, they were part of our Series C fundraising efforts. So they participated in our $70 million Series C financing round. And as well, a big reason for us coming to Luxembourg was essentially accelerating our commercial roadmap in the time to market of more innovative new digital technologies. So through the Luxembourg Future Fund and the Luxembourg government, we had access to a number of different programs, for instance, Lux Impulse and other types of R&D grants that really helped us to make investments, not only to come up with more innovative technologies and solutions that we can solve with our satellite technology, but also to help us productize and commercialize much of what we were doing. So through Lux Impulse and the European Space Agency and the Luxembourg government, we were really able to access those funds that truly helped to accelerate our commercialization, which of course accelerated our growth over the last 3 years. So we moved to Luxembourg right at the end of 2017. When I joined Spire in August of 2018, the Luxembourg office had 12 people in it. So we weren't a very, very large office. We've now grown to 70 people in the Luxembourg office. That includes a mix of engineers, scientists, product managers, marketers, customer support, basically the entire gamut of what you need to run a successful business. We've been able to tap into not only the Luxembourg talent market, which is pretty substantial, but also the European talent market, which has been great. Our business growth in Europe alone has really accelerated over the last 3 years, and much of that has to do with the fact that we're centrally located in Luxembourg, and really have access, again, to that talent where you have pretty standard employees to speak 3 or 4 or 5 different languages, which makes it easier for us to access some of the European countries. And then, of course, this all culminated into an IPO this past summer. So we went out on the New York Stock Exchange as a publicly traded company at a $1.6 billion valuation this past summer. And much of this is really related to the fact that the access that Luxembourg gave us, not only to the funding, but also to the talent, has been incredibly beneficial. We continue to expand our offices. We opened up an office in Sweden Earlier this year, we just acquired a company out of Toronto, Canada. So now we have an office in Toronto as well. So our growth continues, and Luxembourg has been a pretty substantial part of that growth, and in particular, their support not only from an investment perspective, but from a grant and funding perspective for R&D and commercialization, and then of course access to talent here in Luxembourg and across the EU.